This is Mitch with the 1000houses.com podcast. I'm here with Kathy Kennebrook. She's over in Florida, and she's going to talk to us about direct marketing and mail. First, I got to pay homage to my sponsor, taxfreefuture.com. Please check the 37 little video vignettes. If you do not have a tax-deferred or tax-free retirement account in which you can grow your investment or your retirement funds, tax-free or tax-deferred, man, you're missing the boat right there. You've got to learn about what you can do with those things. I've been doing it for years and years and years, and boy, does it pay big. Imagine not having to pay taxes on your profit on all your investments for a long, long period of time, if ever. Taxfreefuture.com, because you won't believe what your financial advisors are not telling you. All right, there you go. Hey, Kathy, how you doing today?
Good. How are you, Mitch?
I'm doing good. So we meet again, huh?
Yes, we do. I'm excited.
I heard that a lot of the listeners called you and you were talking to a lot of people. So we're going to go ahead and put your phone number over in the show notes because apparently people want to talk to you when I finish having these podcasts with you. And you don't mind talking to them at all.
No, I don't. I love talking to new people and helping them. That's what I'm all about.
Okay, so real estate's a pretty broad arena, so let's describe your niche and why you're choosing it.
Okay, so primarily my niche, as you know, is direct mail marketing. That's the primary way that I like to find highly motivated sellers. A person should always have between 1 and 5 different marketing techniques in play at any given time, but one of those needs to be direct mail marketing. And what I do is I have specific types of sellers that we target, both with the letters and with the criteria within the lists, to bring in the most highly qualified leads and have them pre-screened when they hit our desk. So,
yeah, so you're talking about building a list, and of course you just don't want to go out there randomly and grab a bunch of people to waste postage on. You want to qualify these people. I call it data sifting. You know, you run it through one set of data, and then you run it through another set of data, and less people fall through, and then another set of data, and less people fall through. And then by the time you finish, you know, running them through these different filters, what's left over in the bucket might not be that many people, or it might be a lot of people, depends on how many filters, but they're more and more targeted with every filter that you put. So how are you filtering? Well, first of all, where are you getting your list? How do you form a list? Do you buy it? Do you create it?
all of the above. It depends on which direct mail campaign that we are targeting. So some of the lists, we work with list brokers, and my students have the same resources available to them. So we work with specific list brokers who will provide the list for them. And then, as you say, they break it out into much finer criteria to hone in on the most highly qualified leads that are going to come in. So that's one way. Another way that we do it is that our students simply go to the property appraiser's office or assessor's office, depending on what that is where they live, or they'll go down to the county and get the lists themselves, depending on what list that is. So like the divorces, evictions, bankruptcy, those types of lists, they can simply go to the courthouse or go online and get. Some of the counties, including the county that I live in, a lot of the counties like in Florida, for example, you can simply go in online and put in the specific criteria that you're looking for and print your lists yourself. So there's a lot of really good ways to get those lists.
Yeah, and so here's some good news for someone who doesn't have a big budget. You're going to get to filter. If you can only afford to send 50 people a week, put it through so many filters that only 50, 60 people fall through into the bucket. You know, it's not a lot of people, but man, are they probably very, very target rich. You know what I mean? I mean, they should be the cream of the crop that you're mailing to.
Well, the other thing that I do to bring that criteria even tighter is I use a very specific letter that has a response mechanism in the letter that tells the seller exactly what I want them to do and what information I need in order to determine if there's a deal there. And nobody does that. So even if you're a newbie beginner, when you get the response from the seller, you've already got the thing pre-screened for you when it hits your desk. You've already got most of the information that you need. That's another tool that we use to filter out the junk, because if they take the time to fill out that response mechanism and send that letter back to us, and a lot of times, Mitch, they put photographs in there too. So now I got the letter, I've got the information, and I got pictures of the property. So it's already pre-screened when it hits my desk.
Yeah, I'm talking about who do you choose to send that to. You can make that very super targeted. And then by the time they send you back a response, whoever responds, now they're like prime suspects. You know what I mean? Like they're almost confessing, you know?
Exactly. Well, going back to the sellers for a second, there are specific lists that we target. And one of the things that I tell my students to do is look at your demographic. You know, look at where you live. What types of sellers are you going to have? So for me, for example, I live in the geriatric capital of the world. I'm in Florida. Okay, so estates and probates and quitclaim deeds and out-of-state owners, those are a real resource for me to find more deals. I work with students that live in military areas. So they're writing to people on military bases because they come in, they buy a home, and now they get transferred somewhere else. So what I tell my students to do is look at your demographic, decide what type of seller you want to hone in and target, and then choose the direct mail campaign that goes along with that. Then use the criteria in the body of the list, and man, you're looking at a ton of leads. Good leads.
Yeah, sometimes it doesn't even take a ton of leads to get where we're going.
Right, so, exactly.
No. If you had to start over again, what would you do different? Think back a little bit. If you were just starting, what would you do different than how you did it?
Start sooner. I had the typical beginner brain when I first started, and we had every excuse in the book not to get started, and we waited a year. It was almost a year from the time we started real estate investing to the time we did our first deal. What motivated me to get started was buying $13,000 in books, tapes, and programs. And at the end of that first year, it was like, I want my money back. And here we are. So that was one of the things that we did. And something else that I will suggest to a new student: find a local real estate club. Get to your club, get educated, ask questions. And one of the things that I did, I figured out what my trigger is, what my button is. And my personal button is, I don't mind, embarrassing myself, but you're not going to embarrass me, kind of thing. And so I stood up in a real estate club and I said, I'm going to do 15 deals before this year is over. And in order not to embarrass myself, I got down and got heavy and got busy to make that goal happen. So figure out what you want in your business and move forward. Don't listen to broke people. If somebody's not doing what you do, then don't listen to whatever their advice is. Find people who have come before you and get out there and do it, and don't try to reinvent the wheel. Continue to do what works.
Yeah, I love people that try to tell me what I'm doing, and I've done it 2,000 times more than them. So
exactly.
I don't know what possesses these people to even get on that track. Like, seriously, how many houses have you done? I've done 4. Great. We'll talk to you later about your experiences. So what's a typical deal look like for you? What's one of your favorite deals you've done recently?
One of my favorite deals. Down here in Florida, we're dealing with some pretty goofy deals. So I'll tell you about one of my favorite goofy deals that we did. Beautiful home, about half a mile from where I live here in Bradenton. And people are still talking about this house. It's in a really, really nice area. It's near one of the preserves that is close to us. We have a lot of preserves in our area. And we call it the Monkey House. And if anybody has ever heard me speak recently, you've heard me talk about the Monkey House. So basically, the seller contacted me from a direct mail campaign, and she actually got 3 letters from us because she got stuck in 3 different siphons. The divorce letter, the out-of-state owner letter, I forget what the third one was, but she ended up getting 3 different letters from us. She contacted us by phone and said, please buy my house. And she mailed us the keys. Okay, is this a motivated seller? Obviously. So she mails us the keys. She doesn't know me from anything. Doesn't know me from anything. She mails us the keys. We go over to the house. It's a divorce situation. He moved out, she moved out, and she went to Indiana. But while she was living in this house, she was raising capuchin monkeys. And they were supposed to be like support monkeys. Anyway, so we walk in the house, and there's like a ½ inch of monkey poop everywhere in the whole house. Well, no, it was the expired listing. That's what the other one was, because the house had been on the market for 18 months and hadn't sold. Gee, I wonder why. And all of the...
Sell it for crap.
Exactly. All of the wallpaper in the house was like black and green and jungly looking. It was bizarre. So the house was worth about $490,000. We ended up buying the home for $225,000. So we knew we had a deal here. And so we get to the closing. She's shaking. I'm shaking because she's shaking because she'd already had a couple sales fall. I'm shaking because there's like a big paycheck here. And so we get the thing closed. Well, when she came down to Florida, she had brought the monkeys with her. And my title lady said, she's not bringing those monkeys to my title company. So the seller says, here's what we'll do. We'll leave the monkeys in the house. We'll go to the closing. We'll close the house. Then we'll go back to the house. I'll get my monkeys. I'll give you the keys, and life goes on. Well, best laid plans of mice and men. So we get back to the house, and she's got this big Ryder truck out there, and she's got this big cage in the Ryder truck for the monkeys. She brought 2 of the monkeys with her, Rambo and Ryland. And Rambo is about a 3-foot monkey, and he's like really ugly with the big fangs and all of that. And Ryland is a baby monkey. He's about like 4 months old. So she gets the big monkey, and she puts his leash on him, and she takes him out to the truck, and she puts him in the truck. No problem. She goes back in the house. She gets the baby monkey. She puts his little diaper on. She puts his little T-shirt on. She brings him out, and she ever so gently puts him in the truck. And right about then, Rambo, the larger monkey, decides he's not having any part of it. Whoosh, gone monkey. He's off and running. So he's going through yards. The seller, her son, my husband, and me chasing this stupid monkey all through neighborhoods, through people's backyards, the whole 9 yards.
Well, his name was Rambo. What did you think?
Exactly. So if he makes it to the preserve, which is like really close, she'll never see the monkey again. So finally, we chase the monkey, and the monkey is running down the main road toward the preserve, and there's a car coming in the other direction, and he's got these big thumper speakers in there, boom, 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 and all that. And he pulls over because he thinks this is the funniest thing he's ever seen. So he flings the door open, and he's got his iPhone, and he starts taking pictures. Right about then, in jumps the monkey into the car, and in jumps the seller into the car. So she finally got her monkey, and life went on.
That's crazy. So how much did it cost to rehab this house, or how did you sell it? You bought it for $220. It was worth $400. What happened in the middle?
Okay, so in the middle, the first thing we had to do was to hire a company to come out and completely clean the thing, sanitize it top to bottom, because monkey poop is not good. So diseases and all that. So they sanitized this house from top to bottom. We spent $80,000 on the rehab, sold it immediately, and my paycheck was $89,000. So that was pretty cool. But some of my deals are pretty goofy like that.
That's one for the books.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what was her deal? Was she just mentally crazy, or had too much money, or what?
She got the house in the divorce, and she was continuing making mortgage payments on a house she didn't live in. So she had a house in Indiana, a house in Florida. She was continuing to make mortgage payments on a house in Florida that she did not live in. And there was a lot of other stuff going on. Her ex-husband, who did live here in Florida, was going over to the house and sabotaging it, like turning the water on and leaving water running. And he took the filters out of the air conditioning and plugged the tubes so that the air conditioning would leak. And it was fun.
Oh, so you had a lot of surprises in that rehab, huh?
We did. Actually, since she mailed us the keys, the home was close enough to us that between the time that we put it under contract and closed, we were able to just go by and take a peek and check on things before we closed on it. So we caught a couple of those things before they got terribly bad.
Okay, so what kind of strategies do you recommend for the new guys, new people out there?
Okay, so my strategies for a new person is get started. Do something. Don't sit on your duffies and make up a whole bunch of excuses not to get started. That was the biggest mistake that I made. Follow your gut. You know, if your gut tells you that this is a good deal, do the deal and figure it out later. I actually had a deal that I did back in the beginning. I knew it was a good deal. Seller contacted, said, here, I'll deed you the house. I got the key sitting right here. And the difference between the mortgage balance and what the house was worth was huge. And I had no idea what a subject to even was, had no idea. So I went back to my real estate club and I ended up paying a real estate investor $10,000 to teach me that particular strategy, how to do the subject to paperwork. And then even after I paid him 10 and the other things we had to pay, our paycheck on that one was $51,000. So get out there and do it. When you are using someone's system, whether it's my system or somebody else's, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Just follow the directions, do what you're being told, you know, and get moving and go forward and get some deals done.
All right. So if you guys are interested in talking with Kathy more about her mailing programs and just what she does and how she does it, I want you to go to 1000houses.com/monkey house.
All right.
Monkey house. How hard can it be? And check it out. Do you got any, I forgot to look and I forgot to ask, so I hope I'm not putting you on the spot, but do you have any giveaways or anything for my listeners today? You got anything they can get for free?
I sent you my book called Your Personal Path to Prosperity. Can you drop that into your system and let them? Yep, we sent that to you a couple days ago. That's a really good.
Path to Prosperity.
It's a good rounded out book that kind of covers a lot of things you don't normally see. It covers time management, how to work with your spouse, a lot of things like that are particularly interesting to the investor and will help them grow their business. So that's a really great bonus. $16.95 value, but it's a really, really good bonus.
Well, there you go. Your Path to Prosperity. That's, you know, there's a lot of really good free information out there. And it also helps you know and learn about the personality behind some of the programs or educational resources that are available to you. It's always helpful to get to know the person. One thing, so did you write this book yourself, or did you work with someone to write it, or how did you write the book?
I wrote the book myself. And then I have a professional editor and publisher in my family. So he went through and did all of the cleaning up and all of the editing and all of that. So the book is awesome.
Well, that's great, because my point is that when you read a book, if it's written by the author themselves, you can really get a good feel for who they are, what they're about, how they think, and a lot about their personality. Very hard to fake an entire book, you know what I mean? You usually, you know, you're going to see the real person in there. So, man, I want to thank you for taking the time to come on. Anything you'd like to say to the listeners before maybe we wrap it up?
Yeah, absolutely. First of all, I appreciate you having me on the call again. I'm really enjoying working with you. We've worked together a little bit over previous years. Your students are absolutely awesome. When they call, they always have such good questions. So you're teaching them right. And so my feeling is that I'm looking forward to working with everyone, and I want you to be successful. One of the things they also get from me, Mitch, when they do invest in my system, they get 12 months of support from me. They can email me any marketing question that they have. And there are so few gurus out there that take the time to do that. But I really like working with my students, and I want them to be successful. And we cover everything from single family homes right on to multifamily and everything in between. So your marketing will change over time depending on what you're doing in your business. My marketing has certainly changed over the last 22, 23 years. I've been around a long time. So I started, flipping and wholesaling a lot of deals, and the older I got, the more greedy I got. So now we do more rehab, we do more work for equity, we do more lease option and things like that. So your ideas and your goals will change as your business grows. So just kind of keep that in mind, and make sure you're planting your goals. Make sure you're figuring out what you want to do with your business as you're going along.
And good advice, good advice. Well, I would like to thank you for taking the time to come on. I'd like to thank the listeners for taking time to stop by and get you some Kathy Kennebrook. A wealth of information, lots of experience in a lot of different strategies. So please go to 1000houses.com/monkey house. And we'll get you that free book, Your Pathway to
Your Personal Path to Prosperity.
Your Path to Prosperity. And also, there'll be all kinds of things over there. Plus, there'll be a phone number to call if you just want to discuss where you're at and where you're trying to go, and maybe some options with Kathy. So this is Mitch Stephen. I'd like to thank taxfreefuture.com for being a sponsor. Please check out the 37 little video vignettes there. And you won't believe what your financial advisors are not telling you, or why they're not telling you. And we're going to tell you why they're not telling you. And then you can do with it what you want, but it's very eye-opening. This is Mitch Stephen, 1000houses.com. We're out of here. Bye, Kathy.
Bye, Mitch. Thank you for having me. Goodbye, everyone. Thank you for being on board.